MMA fans, what is going on? Craig Allen here with Fight Night Picks. We are Thursday night ahead of the fights, and I had to make an appendage to one of our videos, so you're probably looking at the thumbnail going, what? But we touched on this during our Menifield and Mozharov video, the fact that we didn't really know what Askar Mozharov's record really was. We had it as 21-8. The UFC's website was a little bit murky. And then more details came to light. So I want to give credit where credit is due, and I'll throw a couple of tweets up at you. But Sherdog put an article out there yesterday night, very, very late Wednesday night. It's all been a pack of lies by Jay over with the old Sherdog. And he said, you might not believe this, but after further investigation, Askar Mozharov's record now stands at 21-12. And then it goes on further. So you might know Steven with Tapology. He looks after things over there. Then he puts out a tweet himself, May 31st, so a little bit ahead, saying UFC signing Askar Mozharov's record has been significantly revised. So if you're paying attention, you're following along with Fight Night Picks, we put our video out on Sunday. So we had the information as of Sunday. So I guess a little bit ahead of all of this. So then we have another tweet that comes out. This is June 2nd, being today, Thursday. Jay saying, following up on something from last night, Askar Mozharov's record now is 19-12. And if you're sitting there really shaking your head or really wondering, then Steven from Tapology says many such cases, few however make it to the major leagues with records like this. Okay, so I'm going to throw up a tweet, I'm going to throw up an article from the UFC, and this is from E. Spencer Kite, fellow Canadian, does great work over with the UFC, but breaking down all the fights coming up this weekend. And of his preview of the fight between Menifield and Mozharov, he has Mozharov's record as 25-7. So the UFC had it as that, as of, let's go up to the top of the article, just so we can have a look. That was as of May 30th. So the information that we had. Now, if you go over to the UFC's website, UFCstats.com, yeah, they have it as 19-12. So Askar Mozharov's record as of now is 19-12. I don't know what else is going to change. MMA Junkie put out the article, tweet, the video of the media day with Askar Mozharov. Ukrainian Conor McGregor, Askar Mozharov reacts to MMA databases removing wins ahead of UFC Vegas 56. So obviously, we can tell that now the UFC has kind of updated their record on Mozharov. I guess let us know down in the comments section what you make of this, if it means anything, if it doesn't. To be completely honest with you, it doesn't really mean a whole lot to me, and you'll find out why kind of as we get into it. But this guy, when he does fight, it is a lot of fun to watch. So hopefully you enjoy the preview and the prediction from Matt and I. I know we'll have a lot more to talk about this on Question Mark Kicks, which comes up on Saturday. 2 hours before the prelims, but yeah, really weird stuff going on with Askar Mozharov's record, and he's got quite a fight coming up against Alonzo Menifield this weekend, so hopefully you tune into that. You can check out Question Mark Kicks, and again, you enjoy the preview and the prediction. Coming up this weekend at light heavyweight, we have Atomic Alonzo Menifield taking on No Mercy Askar Mozharov, a man who withstood a name change as a professional fighter. He's also possibly 29-7 or 21-8.
Yeah, Johnny Eduardo, that's what we call it.
It is hard to say what his overall record actually is, but the UFC have it listed, Sherdog have it listed, and multiple others at 21-8. And I apologize to our audio-only listeners over on iTunes and Spotify, but Askar Mozharov does not look like the guy in our graphic that I have next to us, and I did that as a point because this is a guy that used to fight at welterweight, then he fought at middleweight, he's fought at light heavyweight, and most recently he fought, and I want to make sure I get this one right, his last MMA fight was at PPC Kratos Cup 12 against Evgeny Golub in November of 2020. That one at heavyweight, he gets the win. And Matt, for Askar Mozharov, I don't care if it's welterweight, middleweight, light heavyweight, or heavyweight, this guy is a flashy striker, and I am there for it. And I've seen him give up in a fight before, which I don't love, but he's a fun guy to watch. He is.
seen a lot of people give up in fights, though, so I'm not going to worry too much. It's going to be really interesting to see how good he looks against a guy like Alonzo Menifield, because this is a huge step up for a guy making his UFC debut. I know Menifield doesn't always look great against the upper tier of the division, but he's still been in there with them, and that's why this fight is going to be so interesting, because for Alonzo Menifield, we know how big he is for this weight division, and I'm glad you bring up just the overall, I don't know, complexity of Askar's I guess just past career, because you're right. He's somebody who fought at 170, 185, 205, and heavyweight. But he's weird because he is young in his career, and I somewhat do attribute it to that. When you're 27 years old, you are going to get bigger as you fight, and he has been fighting for a number of years now. I'm not going to say it explains all of the weight gain.
He just does a lot of weightlifting.
We have seen a lot of fighters gain weight throughout their careers and jump up in weight class. I know it's much more of a boxing thing, but it's happened. Alistair Overeem used to be built like me, and then he was not
Diego
built
Sanchez
like me.
did it.
Diego Sanchez did it, beat Nick Diaz all the way up at middleweight. That's a fun fact that a lot of people should go back. But for Askar, he is such a light on his feet striker that I am kind of surprised to see the progression in his weight classes, or at least just moving up in weight classes, because he fights like a welterweight. And I know we say this sometimes about, oh, I can't believe I'm going blank on this. Middleweight, who's the best heavyweight now?
Jared Cannonier?
No. Middleweight, who is now a heavyweight.
Oh, Jay Collier.
Jay Collier, exactly. Jay Collier physically looks like a heavyweight right now, but he still fights a lot like the guy who used to be at middleweight. Askar's kind of similar to where he is light on his feet. Very flashy with his kicks. And the thing I do like about him, he can throw kicks while he's repositioning his feet. Now, against wrestlers, that's not going to be a very good thing, and that might get him caught. But that's a really high-level striking technique that you don't often see, because he is so light on his feet, and he does have a really nice bounce. I do worry a little bit just about his throwing in combinations, because most people want to throw punches to then set up their kicks, or use a couple low kicks to then set up their punches. Askar just kind of explodes into stuff and multiple spinning kicks or body kicks into a row, and that does worry me, because if you are just going back to that well over and over and over again, maybe you hit Menifield with the first one, but the second one he might block and the third one he might counter. So I am a little worried about, it might be weird to say the predictability of Askar, but he is almost predictable with his unpredictability.
He walks in on a straight line, throws crazy stuff, and if it lands, he knocks guys out and finishes them. And it's really weird because, again, his last MMA fight was in November of 2020. He took a fight in 2021. It was a bare knuckle fight, and I went searching for it, and then it was like a dirty website where it was like slap ass, and oh, we have like regular slap competitions, and oh, by the way, some bare knuckles. So I just found the highlight on Twitter, but realistically he lands a crazy right hand and then finishes it up. 8-second knockout over Victor Jones, who, and I want to make sure I get this one right for the folks at home, Victor Jones' MMA record 5-16. Those are the quality of people that go into bare knuckle boxing. Sorry to the bare knuckle fans. But if you do look at it, Askar was a day's notice replacement fighter. He was supposed to come in and fight Jordan Young with PFL, replacing Vinny Magalhaes. He weighed in, they faced off, they like put their fists in each other's face. And then it was like, okay, Askar's not in the fight. And then the UFC went, okay, I like the way this guy looks, like sign him. Like, it's a really weird signing. He was due to fight last year Ben Rothwell and Dustin Jacoby. Those fights fell out. It says visa issues in one spot, injuries, whatever. But Askar is finally due to make his UFC debut, replacing Nikolai Negumereanu, who was deemed out of this bout on April 29th. So a little bit of time to get ready for this matchup against Alonzo Menifield. And for Menifield, it should be said, this guy, Dana White's Contender Series guy, he beat Deshaun Boatwright, a name that I'm going to talk about.
It just always felt like Menifield was supposed to be better than he was in the UFC.
Yeah, he finished Vinicius Moreira very quickly. He finished Paul Craig on that spinning back kick that Paul Craig went for, and then he just hammered him, kind of, not the back of the head, but as he was spinning. Loses to Devin Clark, loses to Vince St. Preux, beats Fabio Charant, beats Ed Herman, and then loses to William Knight in a fight that was very, very close, but very, very boring. So, a good opportunity for both of these guys. And for Mozharov, win, lose, or draw, this is going to be your favorite fighter's favorite fighter. If you like Johnny Walker, you're going to like Askar Mozharov.
And that would honestly be a really fun fight to put together in the future if he is able to win this one. For Mozharov, though, I do worry about him fighting anybody who has a well-rounded game plan in the top 15, because once you do get to the top 15, it's less about your strengths and more about the fact that you don't have any apparent weaknesses in your game. And for Mozharov, he's going to have those weaknesses just with his striking style. Now, against Menifield, who can get caught in a mirror sometimes, well, not even sometimes, quite often in his fights, I do think Askar could go in there, get one of those, just blow the doors off him kind of knockouts, knock him out in 20 seconds, and then everybody thinks he is the next big deal. But Alonzo Menifield is steady when he does win his fights, and that's something I always go back to. If Menifield decides, hey, I'm bringing the wrestling shoes, I'm using clinch control, I'm not going to allow this fight to even get started, I really think Menifield's going to set himself up for a really fun win. But this is one of those fights where, if Twitter's showing highlights of it, Alonzo Menifield's probably not the one who won.
Yeah, like Askar Mozharov, world's most interesting man. Complete physical transformation. He was a welterweight from 2014 to 2016, a middleweight from 2020 to 2021, and now all of a sudden, like the middleweight, light heavyweight, heavyweight, back to light heavyweight transformation. So it'll be interesting to see what he looks like this weekend. For Menifield, kind of like Hakeem Dawodu, coming out of Saxon's Muay Thai, but also Fortis MMA, get a little bit of the striking, get a little bit of the grappling. He's kind of got a little bit of everything. But again, I talked about the Mozharov fight. His last loss was against Christian Torres, a guy coming out of Sanford MMA. And Torres is like a jack of all trades, taking the fight on short notice. Mozharov should be winning this fight, right? Well, Torres gets it down to the ground, and he lands a steady elbow to Mozharov's forehead. And Mozharov puts his hand up like a kid in class. And the referee's like, what? And then Torres lands 2 more elbows, and Mozharov taps due to strikes. So it was a really weird ending to that one. Again, he has won 3 fights since then, but they were a long time ago. So we do look at the odds for this fight. Alonzo Menifield, the UFC veteran of many fights, open to -130 favorite, -161 right now. For Askar Mozharov, open to +110, +134. We have a look at Tapology. The votes are a surprise to us there. To you, I'm going to say over under 65% Mozharov.
I think Menifield will be the favorite.
Menifield's the favorite. Slight favorite. 1,255 total votes. 55% Menifield, 76% by knockout. For the 45% that are Mozharov, 52%, or sorry, that's 82% by knockout. So a strong preponderance of knockouts in the air, Matt, by the fans. What's the pick?
I'm going to do the old Mike Wilbon. If Alonzo Menifield's the guy I think he is, he should be able to win this fight. Again, he has the much higher level of experience throughout his UFC career. And they might not all be wins, but you still learn when you go in there and fight really high-level guys. It's like the rub. Stipe always talked about this. Like, Stipe fought JDS and he lost the first time. But guess what? He had a really close fight with one of the best heavyweights of all time. And it made Stipe realize, like, hey, I'm not that far away from it after all. For Menifield, again, I can't believe I just compared him to Stipe Miocic, but I do think with his overall well-rounded game and the ability to wrestle in this matchup, I do like him, although I can fully admit he could get put on a poster in the first round easily.
Alonzo Menifield, the Eric Silva of this division. He's already 34 years old. I have Menifield in this matchup. I like the steadiness of his shots. He's not as wild, and if he can keep his defenses up, he can win this fight. But Askar Mozharov just has to watch an Vince St. Preux highlight and realize that he could knock out Alonzo Menifield. So a great fight coming up this weekend. I'm so glad that we finally get to see Askar Mozharov out of Odessa, Ukraine, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, but he's trained in Florida forever. He is an international man of mystery, and I am here for it. Let us know down below in that comment section who you have. Toss a like and a sub if you haven't already. Keep locked in with Fight Night Picks. We always say, let's get into it.